You brought up police brutality, and I know that there is a coalition, I believe it's a coalition called CAPCAR.
Right, Coalition Against Police Crimes and Brutality.
Right. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And when I lived here before, like I said, in the late 90s, I know that OBS had been working on police brutality issues because all black community, in every black community, and any activist that's working in anything in the black community at some point in time is working on police brutality, right? And I know one of the big issues was bringing control of the police back to St. Louis because it's controlled by the state.
Right, and that's something that's unique to Kansas City and St. Louis, Missouri. Our police departments are not locally controlled; they're controlled directly by the state of Missouri, which means that any fundamental change that has to happen, we literally have to go to a police commission that's appointed by the governor of the state. Which means, again, that undermines the direction of any tenet of people having any self-control or just being able to define how it looks in the community.
Right.
So OBS, well, not just OBS, CAPCAR was a coalition that was actually formed, I want to say, in the early to mid-80s.
Okay.
So yeah, that struggle for local control has been going on for a very long time.
Right.
And actually, Action took that on before OBS did.
Action?
Yeah, that's Percy Green. Percy Green and Action. That's another grassroots activist organization that existed throughout the 70s. Action Union still functions. But yeah, they did a lot very similar work to what OBS did. But they were taking on the same issues back then. Right now, I'll say maybe 5 years ago, we'd actually coordinated enough community support to get our board of aldermen to pass legislation to create civilian oversight for our police force. But the mayor,
just before, so the thing that I wanted to interject here is that when I was here in the late 90s, that was the big thing that they were trying to do, the Civilian Review Board. And here we are 10 years later, and that happened like 2 years ago?
It was maybe, I want to say it was closer to 2005 or 6.
Okay, so right when I got back.
Yeah.
All right, so it's maybe 6 or 7 years that it took to do that. But they had been working on that before I even got here.
Yeah.
So we can at least say 10, maybe even longer struggle to get the Board of Aldermen to say this is a good idea. And the reason I wanted to say that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's because a lot of times as activists, you know, we get tired and we say, well, nothing I'm doing is making a difference. And because it took 3 years, it took 4 years, and it seems like nothing's changed. But sometimes it takes 10, 15, Reggie Clemens has taken 20. And we cannot forget that these victories take a long time, and all you have to do is look back to the victories that happened. And here, to some it might not seem like a victory because we still don't have the review board. But to have the Board of Aldermen finally say, that's an important piece.
Oh, that's huge.
Okay, so what about the mayor?
Well, no, I mean, back to your point, though, that's one of the biggest lessons I had to learn personally, is the fact that movement building isn't something that's going to be dramatic, it's not going to happen overnight. It is a steady work in progress. It's something that we have to consistently accomplish. When we actually were able to pass the legislation, the Board of Police Commissioners, which at that point, well, it's still chaired by the mayor, who is the only person that's not appointed by the governor. Right, exactly. They basically refused to sign it. They kicked it back. So all the work that we've done at that point had to be redirected toward the notion of bringing it back to the city, meaning bringing control of the police force itself here, so that we'd have more fundamental power in making those changes.
So how do you feel about, or where are you on that now?
Actually, we've had a great deal of success. We have a lot of great allies in the Missouri State Senate and the House. It was actually able to get out of committee for the first time.
Okay.
Right, but at the same time, it wasn't voted on.
Okay.
So it ended up dying at this point. That does not mean that our struggle is over. And actually, that's a victory. That's a victory. It got further this year than it ever has. So next year, we will push and punch that much harder.
Good. Another thing I understand that OBS is involved in is the Justice Institute.
Right.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Justice Institute?
The Justice Institute started off as a small network of organizations and activists, and it's still relatively small, but it's kind of come to a point of becoming almost a coalition. They come together for two main purposes. One is to study. It's to deepen the understanding of the left of the issues that affect us. It's to strategize so that we can be more effective in our own struggles, and also to be there for each other. The other side is to actually work, to actually get out there and do the work and do that together.
Right.
So at this point, we had a lot of success, and we brought on board a lot of people who were just interested in getting it done, but never knew how to get it done.
Right.
So it's a tremendous accomplishment, just being able to kind of keep that coalition together.
Right. Well, that sounds like a good idea that maybe other people can start something similar, if not activities at first. It's the getting together and studying and learning about what's happening, because if you're not sure, if you have people who want to volunteer, like you said, and want to get involved, but they're not sure what to do or what they want to do, at least if you have something to send them to do some studying, then they can start to see and come up with some ideas of things to do. You know, so
I mean, you see on the right, they have literally think tanks and groups that literally affect their strategizing from top to bottom. All we have for think tanks, you don't see local organizing having that same embedded knowledge. We don't always talk or spit the same message as consistently as what we see on the right.
That's right.
And we're hoping that this type of organizing, one, makes us more effective and can strengthen our struggles and give us a longer lifespan for what we're doing.